Hi guys. So we're talking kettlebell swings, why do we do them, what we should be targeting, and why we are looking at those hip hinges or focusing on hip hinges this month and how that should directly relate to your kettlebell swings as well. So what we're seeing in the sessions are a couple of different variations of your kettlebell swings, which up to this point, and I'll explain why, I've let it go to a certain extent, but it would be great if we could get everybody kind of targeting the kettlebell swing the way it's been designed for and what it's been designed for. So your kettlebell swing is predominantly, apart from being a pretty good cardiovascular exercise, it's predominantly a strength exercise, and its strength, the muscles it's targeting, it's basically your posterior chain, just means your back chain, particularly it's your hammies, your glutes, and your back extensors. So that's what we're trying to target when we're doing a kettlebell swing, which is why we're talking about with that hip hinge, that action there is pretty much what your kettlebell swing should look like. What we see a lot of, and you'll see this, basically across the board in gyms everywhere, is sort of this variation of the kettlebell swing, which is very squat like. So you compare that to how we kind of want the kettlebell swings done. So that first variation, a lot more bend in the knees. What that does makes it quite a quad dominant exercise and a lot less glutes, hammies, back in there. The only positive part of doing it with that bend is if your form isn't spot on with a hip hinge, then that is a safer way of doing a kettlebell swing, simply because you don't get the same amount of flexion through the back there and won't load the back up quite as much. But ideally, that's what we're actually trying to do. We actually want to load the back up safely, which is, as I said, getting back to that whole hip hinging this month. We need you guys to be able to basically have this action here just spot on, not even having to think about it, just second nature, because once we can do that, that is all a kettlebell swing basically is, just done a whole lot faster and more explosively. So if we get back to that video I posted up a couple of days ago on hip hinge, it's a 4-minute video. For those of you that didn't make the workshop, that was one of the big reasons I put the workshop on, was I wanted to show those guys how the hip hinge then correlated into how we want the kettlebell swings done. But if you watch that 4-minute video, it goes through all the basics. It's just a matter of practicing at home. It's muscle memory, okay? You guys do it enough times, and it's not going to take too long. 2-3 minutes a day. You do that for a week, and most of you will have that movement pretty much down pat. Alright, so watch that video. As I said, we're focusing on it every single session this month, so we may as well focus on what it's meant to focus on, which is this back chain, which we all need. We tend to be quad dominant anyway. We don't need to strengthen those, especially when we're not trying to. Alright, so go back, watch that video. I will see you guys Thursday.